So good day, everyone. Maazi Ezeoke here speaking to us. Let me know where you are watching me from, and let me know how many people are watching me. So I know I am currently live on Facebook, and I am live on YouTube. So as usual on this channel, and as usual when I speak to us, I want to know from which platform you're watching me from. As the title basically says, this evening I will be looking at the 1967 Aburi Accord that could have saved us from this calamity that we have in Nigeria today. You know, what went wrong? What is it that we all did wrong? And who were those that brought us to our knees? Now, for so many of you who are too young to know what Aburi Accord is, I will give us a brief introduction to this subject. Aburi Accord was, put it this way, Aburi is an area or a city in Ghana, and Aburi Accord was reached in 1967 before the war broke out at a meeting attended by delegates of both the federal government of Nigeria, then as it were, it was called the Supreme Military Council, and because the killing of the Southeasterners, or rather the killing of the Easterners, has gone to a level, an unprecedented level, that the people have migrated from north-south, from north southwest, or rather than Midwest or Western region, down to the old Eastern region. And the old Eastern region comprised of the current Southeast and the South-South, with the exception of the Edo state today. Edo was then in the Midwest. And the delegation was led by the Eastern region, who was the Governor General then, led by Colonel Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. May his soul rest in peace. Now, that meeting was built to be the last chance of preventing the impending civil war, and it was held between the 4th and the 5th of January 1967. You can see the program of 1966. Bear in mind, there was a military coup in 1966. Hold on. There was a counter coup again in 1966, and a program of the killing of the South, the Eastern people ensued. And as days began to go on, the people, at some point, everyone migrated down Eastern region. I am giving us this background because we need to get to the meat of the matter. So when all these things happened, question was, why did we, or those that attended, those that had the power, why did they renegade? Why did they go back on their promises? The war was needless. And again, I make bold again to say it. The first coup led by Njenje in 1966 was needless and highly regrettable. For me, that coup was silly. It was of no, basically it's the genesis of what put the Igbo nation or the Eastern region where they are today. The Njenje was not He didn't do that coup for Igbo. He didn't do that coup for the Eastern region. He did that coup in his thinking, what he understood to be in the benefit of Nigeria in order to enthrone Awolowo. Okay, so let's get that fact. And I also make bold to say that amongst those that have governed Nigeria, sadly, the man he killed appears to be one of the best so far. Google, go to, you're watching me, if you're watching me from YouTube after this, you can go to YouTube and type in Tafa Balewa visit to America. If you have ever watched your president speak and you watch him speak, tell me you will be proud as a black person that you had him as your prime minister then. Sadly, he was killed. That is historical, today, those are historical facts. Now, one of the reasons I have decided to make this video today, make it a live broadcast rather than a recorded video that I can post, you watch, and that's it, is that I want us to actually begin to speak to one another. Look at where we have made mistakes. Look at what we could do and how we can correct them. And if there are blames, we must situate the blames where they are. I started by saying the first coup of 1966 was needless. That's my opinion. I'm saying that after extensive research over the years, I have come to know that was needless. But again, many people might disagree, but okay, that's why opinion can vary. Now, having said that, people, the Aburi was there was AU meeting in Addis Ababa, that is Ethiopia. There were other diplomatic engagements in order to see if we can stop the impending calamity. Sadly, that didn't happen. We lost over 3 million men, women, young, old. Once more, I say, may their souls rest in peace. Now, question, as the Chinese philosopher would say, why resuscitate the old wound and why now? And Maazi Ezeoke will say, why not now? I have watched as conversations, recently, people have started throwing up quotations and citations and articles written by Femi Adesina. And one of those articles, if you read them today, you will marvel. That means we all know what the issue is. We all know where the problem is. But somehow, when you get into power, you appear to lose it. You appear not to speak truth to power anymore. And I say to myself, I hope I wouldn't be in that position in my life. Because as you all know me, I say it irrespective of whose us is God. I once said to someone that if I have power and if my dad was among those that looted money, blind me, he will be among those that will be facing the firing squad. But that is a digression anyway. So before I go into the meat of the matter, which is to review what Femi Adesina actually wrote, where he stood. Now we review vis-a-vis the things that has happened. Last week, in one of the series that we've been doing, I had the opportunity of interviewing Alhaji Tanko Yakasai, who is now 94 years old. And because sometimes I am intrigued, I want to know these things that happened before we were born. As it is, and as it is. I mean, barely after, as the war was ending, many of us were born. We've studied. I mean, after studying, I actually wrote my dissertation on the Nigerian Biafran War. And these are things I say because I want us to understand where I'm coming from. The point remains that according to Tanko Yakasa, he said, and he put it squarely, and I want us to, before I get into Femi's listen, I don't even know in this stream how I can bring in, hold on, let me see if I can bring in something from a third party. Yeah. Anyway, normally, because of what I'm using, if not, I would have brought in Tanku Yakasa on this interview he had with Channels TV. I would do it in an unconventional way for us to watch this. And let us listen to what he said. Tanko Yakasa, hold on, Channels TV. Now let us listen to what Tanko Yakasa said.
Ghana, Aburi, they agreed on program, but as a matter of fact, Ojukwu was more prepared. I'm not condemning Gawan, but Gawan, in my opinion, went to Aburi with the hope or best of intention that it will be a matter of reconciliation. He went, but he didn't take the large business that Ojukwu took. So,
okay, so people, what that means and what that tells us is the silliness that happens in Nigeria didn't start today. That people never took things serious never started today. That you have killings in Zamfara, you have killings in Enugu, you have killing in Delta State, you have killing in Kaduna, and the people that govern you do not show enough interest didn't start today. A 1966 program, the whole of northern region, even in Lagos, as long as you're from the eastern region, you are a marked person. It started with the, within the army, even to the point that people who were leaving Kaduna down to the eastern region, pregnant women were stopped in Boko, in Benue, their bellies ripped out and babies, fetus, yanked off. And all these things were happening. You can hear now Tanko Yakase saying that when they got to Aburi, it appeared Ojukwu was more prepared. Now you ask yourself, what was he going to Aburi to do? To drink coffee? People are dying. You're looking at a way to resolve the issue. And there you have it that I wasn't born then, but you have it from Tanko Yakasa, someone who was alive, who was then an adult, who was part of whatever was happening, is telling you that, oh, he doesn't want to blame Gowon, but for freaking just blame him. He went to Aburi to do what? To drink tea. They said Ojukwu came prepared. They didn't take it serious. Heck, if your people were dying and you are the governor, not this type of governors that we have today, if your people were dying and you were in charge of the old eastern region, the southeast, south minus Edo State, that is a 10th state, the 10th state today. Now you govern this place and your people were dying. You get into Aburi, what do you do? Of course, you come for serious business. But what were they doing? They had to, after the agreement, they come back and the whole agreement was done to shred. Now let me get back to and get into what Femi Adesina said. Now, sometime in March, either March 2nd or 3rd, 2012, that was a year after Buhari lost the 2011 election. Take note here, 2011 election. Buhari lost that election. Incidentally, Ojukwu contested that election as well. Now, and there was an article written by Femi Adesina, who incidentally is the same person that is the spokesperson for Muhammadu Buhari. And that article in 2012 was titled The Aburi Accord. The Aburi Accord that would have saved Nigeria from all problems, but aborted by Fulani oligarchy. That is Femi. That's not me. I didn't give it the title. He gave it that title. As of that time, Femi was an editor with the Sun's newspaper. Now, Femi said, now let me go through his narration. You know, what he's a brilliant chap. I give it to him. He said, in December 2019, he was in Aburi. He went on a holiday in Aburi, in Ghana. They say Nigeria call it Aburi, but the Ghanaians pronounce it as Ebiri. Ebiri, or that is irrelevant anyway. And he said he went into that botanical garden that is 119 years old. But for us in Nigeria, and especially for the Eastern people, Aburi means something, and it goes beyond nature or its preservation. He said that this is a town that is basically referring to where General Gowon, as of that time, and Odumegwu Ojukwu met to try to avert the Nigerian civil war, what I call the Nigerian aggression against Biafra, which lasted between 1967 and 1970. They came to Aburi, which later broke down. The question is, Femi is now saying that Aburi broke down, and I'm asking, why did Aburi broke down? We know that war started. Now, how they lodged, whatever they did in that place is irrelevant. What matters is, Femi said that as one of the key parties to Aburi, Odumegwu Ojukwu returned to Mother Earth. He was writing this as a tribute to Ojukwu. Remember, Ojukwu died in 2012. So when Ojukwu died, he wrote this as a tribute to Ojukwu. And I said, thank God that he did, because the internet never forgets. As Ojukwu was, the day Ojukwu were to be buried in Nnewi was when he published this. Now, let me take some excerpts from there. It says, for most part of 1966, the northern part of Nigeria particularly had been turned to killing fields. Killing field. Mark that word. These are words of Femi, not my words. He said, non-native, especially Igbos, were killed in thousands. Many fled. Many others were displaced. Now, you had houses in Kano, in Kaduna, in Adamawa, Yola, Jimeta, wherever you had houses, you were displaced of your house. Many thousands you were killed. People fled. The average Igbo looked up to Colonel Ojukwu, then he was a colonel, and also the military governor of the Eastern region to provide leadership. And Ojukwu did not fail in providing that leadership. What did he do? He championed the cause of his people, as the people demanded. By January 1967, as I said at the beginning, between the 4th and the 5th, the drum of war was already loud and reverberating across the length and breadth of Nigeria. But in order to find lasting solution not to head into this ditch, effort was made to resolve this. The Ghanaian president then, General J.A. Ankara, at a meeting, summoned that Ojukwu and Gowon should come. Ojukwu, all the military, basically all the military governors of the region and some top servants, civil servants, both from the federal side. Now, bear in mind, pay attention here. You have civil servants from Nigeria. You have civil servants from Biafra, they all went to Ghana to look for peace. The agenda of that meeting consists of three crucial things. Three, because it has become imperative that I make this broadcast because many people do not get it when people say on Aburi we stand. Many of us still, people are still demanding for the restructuring today, but no one is actually paying attention. If we had gone ahead and restructured that country at that point, would we be in the same mess today? The agenda of that meeting consisted of three crucial issues. One, reorganization. Two, one is the reorganization of the armed forces. Two is the constitutional agreement. Now, the third and the last issue was issues of displaced persons within Nigeria. That means those that have lost their properties in Kano, Kaduna, everywhere, what will now be their fate? That was the third one. Now, the meeting lasted for 2 days, and they reached a consensus that were acceptable to both sides at that meeting. This consensus was acceptable. No one argued about anything. It was a consensus. So the Nigerian didn't force anything down Ojuku's throat. Neither did Ojuku force anything down their throat. Now, amongst other things that they agreed on was resolve that the legislative and the executive authorities of the federal military government was to remain in the Supreme Military Council. That's fine. To which a decision affecting the whole country shall be referred to for any determination provided in its possible, for a meeting to be held. That's fine. And the matters requiring determination must be referred to the military governors. Military governors, in this case, for the East, that is Ojuku, for their comment and concurrence. The same way we have today, things that are in the concurrent list. Pay attention once more. Now, these agreements were reached. What does that mean in simple terms? In simple language, it means that the Supreme Military Council will run the affairs of the country, but not without consulting the regions. They can run the affairs of the country, but they must consult the regions. Then you think to yourself, what is bad in it? This is not an autocratic place. Basically, you're going to run the affairs of a place. If you want decisions made, you consult, of course. That is still today. That is what is still, that is what common sense should dictate. What does it mean? Again, as I said, that is more of consultation. And this was something basically that we can liken to our today's federalism, federal structure, where you have issues between states at that time region and today called states. But that was under a military government. Other terms of the agreement included appointment to senior ranks in police, diplomatic, and consular services, as well as appointment to super scale posts in federal civil service and other equivalent posts in the statutory corporation must be approved by the Supreme Military Council. Again, we ask, what does this mean? Simple. It means equity, fairness, through federalism. In Igbo, we say, do not take my share. I am not interested in taking that which belongs to you. Why must my own be what is always in contention? Does that tell us something about the mentality of what is happening? Now, I'm still going through what Femi wrote. This is not mine. This is what Femi, today, the Femi you know, telling you the one that coined Willers, calling you because you complained that what the federal government was doing is not good, he calls you a willer, willing willers, as he pleases him, he calls you that. Now, other matters like holding of ad hoc constitutional conference, fate of our soldiers. Remember, soldiers have moved from the north to the south at that time, and fate of those soldiers that were involved in the January 15 military coup, the rehabilitation of displaced persons, etc. These are things that one would also think that would eventually, easy to agree. Now, all these things we agreed on, they went back home. Suddenly, everything they agreed on went into flames. The East. Again, let me get something here. There was a statement, and I remember there was a statement Femi made that is very instructive. And I wonder how is it that we forget things. I want to quote Femi. I want to quote Femi correctly here. Hold on, I'll quote him here because I wrote it down. Femi says, using the Eastern Radio Corporation service, Ojukwu played the tape recordings of the proceeding at Aburi repeatedly, not to do any other thing, but to educate the populace on what was playing. Later, he made a broadcast in which he said, and I quote, thank you, Femi, for saying this, "We in the East are anxious to see that our differences are resolved by peaceful means and that Nigeria is preserved as a unit. But it is doubtful, and the world must judge whether Lieutenant Colonel Gowon's attitudes and other exhibition of insincerity are something which can lead to a return of normalcy or confidence in the country," quote unquote. You ask yourself, people always argue, Ojukwu came back and said, and he went on air to discuss this. What did Ojukwu do? Smart. The conversations is not a private secret conversation. You have permanent secretaries. You have government officials who attended those meetings. They all were there. The recordings, the tape recorders were there. What he only did was to play these things so that in Igbo we say, when one eyes or one man sees a snake, if guy is not taking it, balloons into a python. So that it is not only his ears and those that went with him to Aburi, but to the ears and to the hearing of everybody, that these are the terms and these are the things we discussed. Ojukwu concludes in that, says, "I must warn all Easterners once more to remain vigilant. The East will never be intimidated, nor shall she acquit to any form of diction. It is not their intention to play the aggressor. Nonetheless, it is not their intention to be slaughtered in their beds. We are ready to defend the homeland," unquote, Ojukwu. You can see a clear statement of a leader. He has waited. Nothing was forthcoming. What did he do? He went out and he played the tape. He didn't manipulate anything. You can hear him speak. You can hear the other one speak. You can hear when they say, okay, we agree. Suddenly, what then happened? Femi went ahead to make another critical point, which is, and I quote so that I don't misquote him, You know, because remember December 2011, that was when Yaradua was already in power. Sorry, when when Goodluck was already in power. Sorry, not Yaradua. And he said, I said he was virtual. Okay, sorry. In December 2000, I did a piece shortly after Ojukwu passed away. I said he was virtually pushed into war by the infidelity, underline that word, infidelity of the federal side to the Aburi Accord. I still stand by that position. Femi Adesina, talking in 2012. 2012. That he stood by that Ojukwu and the eastern region were pushed into war by the infidelity of the federal government of Nigeria. He concludes by saying he still stands. His way he wrote it, I still stand by that position. Ojukwu was called warlord for decades, but he was not, by no means, a warmonger. He only did what he needed to do in order to secure his people. Does it sound similar to when some people in this country today call, oh, I think we are not being governed right. Can we have a referendum to agree or determine how we want to be governed as a people? Do we want to go back to that Aburi Accord of 1967, or do we want to go back to the Constitution of 1963? All you hear in response, rather than in discussion, is they are calling for war. How does a call for referendum, what is referendum? That you ask people, how do you want to be governed? People are saying, new generations are saying, we do not feel comfortable the way the structure is. All we are saying is, can we get together? Ask us, this is paper. Yes or no? Do you want to be part of this nation? Fold it. Yes or no? Yes, I vote. No, I don't. If no, how do we want to be governed? 8 regions, 10 regions, break the nation, whatever it is, the people must decide their fate, not the other way around. The people must decide their fate. What is wrong with us that, you know, everything, just like Femi said, Ojukwu was pushed into something and everybody goes back and say he was a warmonger. Honestly, there are things, you know, and there are things I feel that feels very, very hard for me to comprehend. And even Femi goes further to say, even some component parts are threatening to pull out of the federation if anything happens to their son, who is now in power. Didn't Ojukwu warn of those landmines ahead? Oh dear, oh dear. You remember when Jonathan was in power? During the election, there was this issue of the baboons will be soaked in blood and all right. And Asari Dokubo and co, everybody was saying, if anything happens to our son, this will happen, we'll break the pipeline and all the rest. Question, that was what Femi was referring, where he said, if anything happens to their son, in quote, he put son in quote, who is now in power, referring to Goodluck Jonathan. He now says, didn't Ojukwu warn of these landmines ahead of time? Were all these issues not already settled in Aburi? Then he says, as a foremost journalist and a media administrator, Akogun Tola Adeni, in a recent interview, explained Aburi Accord in this way. He says, let every region be semi-autonomous and develop at their own level. Yes, that was the spirit and letter of Aburi. Let every region develop at their own pace. Why is it too hard You see, most times, people, because we appear not to want to sit together and talk to each other, some of us will say, let the damn oil dry. Let oil in the next 10 years not even rise above $10. Let us all die. Let us get your own cup. You will drink let us drink the oil, or we get a brain reset. How can we be as a people and you know we know the truth. We know the truth, but we appear not to take it serious. Again, he asks this question again. Is that not what we are suffering today, living in rackety and risky country that can burst at any moment? I tell you, Ojukwu was a prophet. And like most prophets, he says, he had no honor in his own country. It's a pity, but whether we like it or not, there is no way we won't return to Aburi willy-nilly. That's where I say, Femi, what happens to you when you move into Asoro? Is there anything, is what Ruben Abati, what he wrote, is it true that when you get into Asoro, your senses go through the backyard? Or is that a special weed that people in Asoro smoke? What is it that whenever you get into that place of leadership, every sense of decency and every sense of reasoning departs from you? Recently, I had a conversation with someone, one of the Antonio Naharu's disciples. He told me how he was. This is not hearsay. He said, I was in my own presence in Bini. Buhari came in. Buhari sat. Enahoro sat. And I sat. And they were talking of how to restructure Nigeria. He said Buhari had a plan how to restructure Nigeria. That was why they voted him in. Suddenly, the same person that had an idea when he was coming together with the South, with the Nahora and Co., when he was running up in 2003, 2007, and 2011. He had a plan how to restructure Nigeria. Suddenly, the same man, his party, has a restructuring document. In that document, I think Article 0.9 or 0.8 of it has it inserted in there, self-determination. That means if I so decide that I no longer have had it up to here, I no longer want to be part of this killing machine or killing field called Nigeria, where life has no value. The life of a chicken in Europe or America is even probably worth more than life of all of us here in Nigeria. If I so decide that I have had it up here, I can do a plebiscite, aka referendum, to tell the people, do we agree that we have had enough? We want to now go and pursue our future somewhere else. You ask yourself, these were things that they agreed in Aburi Accord, and these things suddenly got denied. And I ask myself, where is the fate of the people in this nation? When you heard it, that part of the reason the Aburi Accord was discarded was because Ojukwu addressed, according to Gowon, Ojukwu addressed the Eastern people. For Christ's sake, why wouldn't he address the people? Do you have anything against addressing the people? Is that the reason why the one you call your president today, in the midst of a world pandemic, there is every reason to argue that, oh, he wouldn't address you if as long as they give a daily briefing? For Christ's sake, that's why he put himself forth to be elected. He was not elected to be hiding under a curtain or anything in Asoro. He was elected to lead, and he said it himself that he was going to lead from the front. Where is he leading from the front? Herdsmen run amok. We don't even know if we call them Amajiris or destitute or IDPs. I don't know what to call them anymore. You wake up every day, what you see, trailer load of people moving down south. No one is able to say what is happening, my people. If we had had the Aburi Accord where people were semi-autonomous, should this be happening? In a lockdown, could you go into Ghana? Because Ghana is a nation of its own. In a lockdown, people, the thing is, or like I said, what we have to do is very simple. I keep asking that question. Is Femi Adesina, or is this something that they do in this? Now, I want to, they take in Asoro. Now, again, Ojukwu himself wrote an article, I think in 2011. Where he made the following statement. He said, anyone who was present at the Aburi meeting or has read the minutes, the communique, the statement, and verbatim report will be surprised that a person who called himself head of state could so deliberately mislead accredited representative foreign government by saying that the implementation of each item of the concluded required prior to detailed examination by the administrative and professional experts in various fields. At the conclusion in Aburi, we are no proposal but a decision taken by the highest authority in the land. What happened, in fact, was the specific matters, namely the decree, sections of decrees to be repealed, that is, repealed in this sense, removed, the mechanics of army reorganization, and the question of rehabilitation of refugees, because you have had refugees move from north to the south. And the question of rehabilitation of refugees referred to expert, the meeting of the financial expert to consider the question of rehabilitation of displaced persons has not been held because the Ministry of Finance does not think that such a meeting will serve any useful purpose. The army expert met and researched agreement and reached agreement, but these were rejected. That is a quotation from Dim Odumegwu Ojukwu. Then you ask yourself, why did Gowon fail to inform the world that the decision taken at Aburi, that the federal government meant no more than the Supreme Military Council? No one, none of them at that point knows the sort of advice Lieutenant Colonel Gowon received in Lagos. One of those that have come out in recent times to make assertions and statement is Philip Asiodu. He basically come out and said he was one of those that advised Ojukwu against that. Question again remains, why? Is it in the interest of some certain elements that this country, as it were, does not progress? What is it that is holding us? Because, listen, people, this nation holds the black race backwards. If it is not manageable, break the damn thing into manageable entities. At best, what I advocate for, a confederation. Be your own nation, have one unified currency, have one immigration, but be your own and control your affairs. Why are some people so scared to hear the word either restructuring, Aburi Accord, or regional governance? Why? The question once more is, for how long shall this continue? For how long shall this continue? At this juncture, I think I would allow some people to come in. Now, what's going to happen if you want to come in, look at the comment section. I would be sharing the link for you to join. You can join the conversation. Make sure you're not you have your clothes on. Okay. The conversation is going to be this way. I share the link. You click on the link. It will bring you in. The link will bring you in. I do not need to share a telephone number for you to ring in. We are going to see your face. So as you are looking at my face, so that when they come for me, you're going to join me as well. I'm just kidding. Okay. So get ready to have the link to join my conversation this evening. And for every one of you watching me and wherever you're watching me from, I acknowledge you. Chamberlain Ezeoke, you guys are still dissecting history. Why the Fulanis? Well, let me say, why the Fulanis are your bushes warming up? We will see. There is a reason why history was taken away from, and that is one of those things here. So what you're going to do now, you can see I have shared this. This is shared simultaneously on Facebook and on YouTube. You click on that link. You can come in. I can allow you to come in and be part of this conversation. Okay. So at the end of the day, I mean, what bothers me, and it bothers me really, is everyone outside government. So, sorry, once more, you can see the link is there. I just joined watching from Australia, and I think Australian people, that's Don James, Australian people should be sleeping by now, but, nice to have you as well. Nice to have you as well. I'm getting a call, but I will pick that call afterwards. So if you want to be part of this conversation, please click on that link to join. Watching from Wiesbaden, that is Kayode K. Kayode K is watching from Wiesbaden. Wiesbaden from Germany. Okay. Yes, 9:49, 3:49. Geez, you should be sleeping, Don James. Watching from Valentine, watching from Madrid. So once more, let me share the link again. And if you want to make any contribution, click on that link. You can join me. So I have someone, Mike Wando, waiting. So Mike Wando, you're welcome to the broadcast live here with Maazi Ezeoke. What's your contribution?
I'm just joining in late. I was doing something else. I wanted to comment based on some of the videos and some of the broadcasts I was watching day before yesterday. So that's why I'm gonna form this basic base of my contribution to this. I was watching something on the YouTube that was like kind of a wake-up call to all of us from the Southeast, telling us to wake up and form some vigilance and warn everybody to be alert because anything can happen at any moment. So it got me thinking: is it time for some of us, maybe somebody like you, Maazi, that may have some contact of these our so-called leaders from the Southeast, maybe ask them to revisit the concept of trying to set up the security outfit as they were trying to do before? I don't know if that would be a bad thing to say or something.
Well, setting up a security outfit is, as I'd always advocated, it's something that should be done within the states. Now, because that is the current structure we have, you do within the states, you can now go back and do some regional integrations. Again, it's one of those things. I mean, everyone sees the videos of the invasion starting from Abuja, Benue, Kogi, down to Auchi, Benin, Delta, Anambra, Enugu, and it calls for vigilance. That's what I would say. And putting it this way, the people, you mustn't divulge everything online, but there are conversations. I'll put it that way. There are conversations happening, so people must be at alert.
Could it be a rebound to the so-called Ruga that we push back at? Could you? Because it got me thinking, really, Maazi. This is what I was thinking. Could this be the real purpose of the Ruga? Because assuming the Ruga was established, we wouldn't have any fee to ask the people, where are you going? They should have simply point to the forest, say, okay, we are going to Lord Panther, we are going to Obo Hill market, or whatever the Ruga was before. Could that be?
You see, one of the things you people need to understand is when we say you go back to regional governance or you go back to the Aburi Accord, what you want is semi-autonomy. But now you are in a federation. It becomes almost an impossibility to stop someone who is moving from point A to point B. The only reason why we are actually being able to stop some movement is because of the law. Put it this way: the lockdown rule being broken. If you don't have any lockdown now, right? Someone boarded a luxurious bus from Sokoto, from Katsina down to Umar. There is nothing you can do. Absolutely nothing. There is nothing you can do. And that's the sad part. You know why? Because when that individual goes back down to Sokoto, or when you go to Sokoto, because it's a federation, no one will stop you as well. So let me bring Basil Ezechima to this conversation. Hello, Basil. Basil, you're on.
Hi. Can you hear this?
I said, Basil, you're on.
The woman is not here.
John Okorie, you're on. John Okorie, you're on. John, unmute yourself and call back, please. Basil, you can hear me, right? Basil. So, Mike won the service. Go ahead.
So, but is there any way, maybe from the National Assembly, because I'm really scared, to be honest with you, Maazi. I'm really, really, really scared of this thing. I'm not joking. Because when you see this, and there was one I was watching, they were even know the tracks to drive within the bushes. So it's not that they don't know where they are going. They know where they are going.
Don't worry, I'll put it this way. Let's stick to the discussion this evening. The direction you're going is not something for public discussion in terms of, whoever is watching should know that the people are not sleeping. Just take it that way.
Okay.
So, Basil, once more, I'll give it another trial. Basil, you are on. Basil Ezechima, you're on.
Thank you.
Okay. John Okorie, you're on.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, hello, John.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, you're on. Go ahead, make your contribution.
Yeah, I was just wondering if what is happening now has something to do with some of the comments attributed to Buhari before he became president.
Like,
I remember the statement about the baboons and the monkeys and things like that who were drowned in blood, and the blood really started flowing the moment he became president. So the question is, why did Buhari want to be Nigerian president?
None of us here are president now, so it's Buhari who answered that question.
Yeah, it's a question I keep on asking myself because.
Okay, maybe Basil Lezdechima can answer you. I can't answer that because I'm not Buhari and I'm not his spokesperson, so there is no way I can tell you why he wants to be. So, Basil, do you know why Buhari wants to be the Nigerian president? And he is your president already. He's been there for 5 years.
Actually, I don't know. How do I know that? I think.
So we put it back to Femi Adesina when we say him.
Yeah. He's the spin doctor.
So, Basil, make your contribution.
The thing is that, let me just say that Buhari want to be a president. He just want to be a president. That is all. He's the only.
You think so?
The only military. Yeah, the only military. Who have been in the old military that have not been a president. All that they are.
And that's exactly what you think. So you don't think there is a greater agenda than just being a
president? I think most of the whole house have the same agenda, So Fulani anyway, they have same agenda. So I think, but he's not. I think the way he came there, he's not doing anything. So he just came there just to be president. That is all. And they go and they further on with the agenda. But what I just want to say is about this Aburi Accord, So Femi Adesina, I don't know. I read that article one time ago, and I was so surprised that he came back and started saying another thing. He was the one who said that you have to give the Fulani your land or you will be killed. And he was. I don't know how he changed just all of a sudden. So
that's why I was asking if there are things they smoke or drink in that place.
Exactly. I don't know if there is anything as related they go to that place, they start behaving in another dimension. So actually, it was so strange.
Anyway, thank you. The question is, someone dropped now. Okay, the question is, looking at the way things are now, obviously, is not looking good. And there are things that we have to know. Again, I will struggle to say some of these things in English, but be that as may, we'll try. I'll put it, speaking tongue in cheek, we have to be all, sleep with our 2 eyes open. Yeah, we have to sleep with our 2 eyes open. No one goes to bed, because if anyone tells you that they understand exactly what is going on, that person it's
nobody does. No, nobody does.
What we see going on now, honestly speaking, no one knows exactly what is happening. It's pure speculations here and there. John Okolie, go on.
I have a question. Who stands to benefit if Nigeria descends into anarchy? As I said, the country is integrated in such a way that if you have a serious problem in the north, nobody can escape it, even in the south. So who stands to gain if Nigeria descends into anarchy?
Well, we hope it doesn't get to that point, but historically, no nation survives 2 wars. And who stands to gain? I don't think it's a question of gain or lose. Mistakes were made in the 66, 67, and up to 70. And if Asojuku said when he was still alive that it would be a tragedy that over 3 million people were lost, that's 50 years ago. And we are heading to, it will be a tragedy that you lose another life again without learning from the first mistake. That would be a monumental tragedy. So again, losing or gaining is neither here nor there. No one discusses their strategy in the open forum, but it is something that we know that there must be a way. You know, there must be a way. Like, I mean, when some people say 1963 Constitution, the 1963 Constitution gave the regions. That was what was in operation before the military struck. And that's why I keep saying, personally, my opinion, that I do believe the 1966, January 1966 coup was a mistake. I have my strong, it was, because that's what, in my view, puts us in this trajectory that we are today. I bring in Obi Chukunan, so you're on now. Chukunan, so you're on. Basil disconnected. Chukunan, so okay, he's still having some issues. Anyway, John Okoli, I think thanks for your.
Maazi, can I say something?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
There's something I have this feeling. Thinking outside the box here. Could it be that there is some sort of equalization going on? Because if you look at it,
what do you mean equalization?
Okay, when Goodluck Jonathan and their regime was there going out, if you check what was going on before this Buhari administration comes in, right? It seems that, because if you think about the banking sector, the financial sector, the business sector was pretty much controlled by us, right? And as soon as this particular regime comes in, it seems that they just want to pull us down to the other side level. I have that feeling.
Can you expatiate on that?
Okay.
Are they pulling you down by, hold on. Are they pulling you down by invading your land or coming into your space? How are they pulling you down?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There is kind of put fear in them, and go in there, even if they say no, take it by force, and nobody will say anything. I have that feeling in me. I'm just thinking outside the box here.
Anyway, it's good to think outside the box. My theory now is actually to think without the box.
No.
So, John Okoye, go ahead.
No, it's. I can't imagine any sort of whatever you call it, equalization or settling scores. What I see happening is it's a sort of a final solution. Before the war, yes, it's maybe.
Sorry, what do you mean by final solution?
Now you remember what the Nazis were saying when Hitler came to power. They met together, and then the High Command came up with what they called a final solution to the Jewish problem.
Okay.
Are we about to see a final solution to the Igbo problem in Nigeria? Because
can you expatiate, please?
Yeah, I'll come to that. Because before the war, we pretty much were in control of most things.
That's why the coup was needless.
Yeah, okay. The coup was not necessary, but the counter coup very much corrected the mistake that was made in the initial coup. That should have been the end of it. But someone came up with some sort of plan to make sure that the Igbo nation never stood up again. And could it be that by standing up and pretty much, presenting a challenge on all fronts, I mean, we are not doing badly. That's not patting myself or ourselves on the shoulders. We are not doing badly, despite the situation, the political disadvantages that we have in Nigeria, but we are not doing badly. Could it be that this is not going down well with some people. You know, the baboons will be soaked in blood and that sort of thing. Could it be that because of all this, somebody is coming up with a final solution to the Igbo problem? Because what I see is an attempt to crush the Igbo man once and for all. I can't explain. It's difficult for me to explain this movement of people from the north to the southeast. When I was in Nigeria, I've been to Canada.
Hold on. One slight correction there. The movement is happening across the southern states, not only in the southeast.
Yeah, but I think it's more pronounced in the southeast than it is.
Pay attention to Abuja. In the last couple of days, I've been taking an analysis actually.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly heat. That's why you've seen the action taken by Arewa. Kaduna is heat, right? Massively. Overflow from Kaduna lands in Abuja. You see videos, you see numbers hitting Auchi, numbers hitting Kogi is equally. So what we actually have in the southeast is spillover. And what we have now in the south is the ones that were able to sneak through the nets of security. That's why honestly I don't trust the security forces. I'd rather go with the state vigilantes, because that would mean if you allow someone to come into your house, because it's your home, but someone who works with the federal authority, he or she doesn't care. He's not from your state. He's not from your locality. So you can, you know, if we are serious as a nation, we should actually be querying people. If that is not something intentional, how come you left Nasarawa? You have to cross about 6 states before you get here. So, you know, those individuals, you've been giving money, because you see, the tragedy here is why everybody is alarmed, actually. You know, this is strategy now. We need to think like adults. Why everybody is alarmed is because of the use of trucks. Mm-hmm. If they were traveling in luxurious buses the way we travel, you know, you get the point. Mm-hmm. The alarm bell wouldn't be ringing. It's just that when you stop a truck thinking they convey cement or they convey pepper or yam or onion, suddenly you open them up and you start seeing human beings sitting down with cows, sitting down with goats. And I mean, it rings all the alarm bell anyway.
Yeah.
It rings down. Hold on. Someone is here. Someone says this. The governors of southeastern Nigeria or Biafra land should ask these insurgents to leave. Then DSS could take it from there. As a matter of fact, eating of cow should be. Again, it's not. You're laughing. So why are you laughing on?
It has nothing to do with eating of cow, or like you like corrected my neck before. Based on the federation, they have the rights to be there. I get that. But what I'm saying is why I'm just laughing about it is that eating of cow has nothing to do with the movement.
No,
yeah.
I think constitutionally they have a right to be anywhere in Nigeria.
That's what I'm saying.
But there is a catch. You have a right to be in Lagos as long as you have a business for being in Lagos. It's the same here in Europe. You have a right to be in Frankfurt.
Sorry,
but you don't. You have.
Listen, my brother. People, let's not move away from the discourse today. People have gone to Lagos in search of greener pastures from various villages without a known destination. Okay, it has happened.
But not in these numbers. But not in these numbers.
That's what we're saying. No. And movement is allowed, but what we now need to look into and tame is the number.
The pattern,
the mode,
the pattern they are using.
You understand the mode, because when I tell people, listen, if you're going from point A to point B because of the federation, yes, you are allowed, but it becomes an issue when I'm hiding under a trailer and I'm going into Lagos. See what I mean? And I have 60 people hiding. You know what what one can actually liken that to be the way people move and migrate from Benin, from southeast via Mali, Libya, hiding under boats or whatever. Is the pattern, and the number is the concerning thing. If they were going with luxurious buses, it would be hard for us to have this conversation. Because if you stop them, it could lead into crisis. If you stop them, that means they could actually say no more Ezenwata, no more young Shagros come from east to the north. And bear in mind, we have millions of people living up north as well. So that's why I said, it's something that whatever is happening, not necessarily meant for public consumption, but I can assure you that the things that are happening are not going unnoticed. I can assure you that.
I hope you're right, Maazi. I hope that the people that are supposed to be taking note are taking note, because yes, I am not down there in the east, but I'm kind of worried sick. That's the truth. I'm not gonna lie to you, because why did the Britain vote to leave European Union? They felt they are being invaded. That's the only thing. There's no other reason they left EU.
Are you in the UK?
I am in Dublin.
Okay, Dublin. Okay.
Maazi, isn't there a sort of legal issue involved in the manner, the number, and the quantity of this movement?
No.
Based on public security, because
no.
If you have a large concentration of people, derelicts, people who have nothing, they're doing nothing, they have no business, they have no.
You have in Dublin. Listen, in Dublin, you might put it this way: United Kingdom and Ireland, you are free to move within those areas, however you choose to move. Right?
Yes.
That's what the federation does, and that is the downside of that federation.
Yes.
When you talk about that federating unit, if you live in London, you decide tomorrow you want to move to Wales, to Scotland, park your thing in your car, you drive. Nobody will ask you, do you have a house where you will stay? Or do you have a hotel reservation? It's nobody's freaking business. As long as you have. But here we are. The locus on which we can stop this happening is, and that's what I want us to bear. You see, sometimes in the midst of noise, thinkers keep their ears shut and look at the strategy and trying to understand what's happening. For me, in the midst of so many videos flying around, we have to think. And in thinking, you understand, yes, these people have their rights, but where is the lacuna? Where can I, what can you use? And it's very simple. What you can use now is the federal government said there is no interstate travel because of lockdown. Therefore, if I see you in my state and you're not a resident in this state, I have the legal right and power to turn you back. And that's what the Kaduna state government has been doing. So, Obi Chukwu, now you're on. And I have Emmanuel Madu. Is it? Obi Chukwu, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Maazi Ezeoke. I hope you can hear me very audibly.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yes. I have been listening from different quarters, and it's not news that we are having this discussion, because Nigeria is a failed state, and for this reason, our own security has been left in our own hands, in the hands of Nigerians. So, and And I wonder why. I mean, I wonder how we are all, still in this. Because I think it is time for us to really, really begin to look at things the way it is. We should now begin to look for ways to guarantee the security of our own people. Because I have been looking at the way things are happening and have come to conclusion that every region, more especially the southern region, needs to really, really buckle up. Because this people means business. This is not a child's play. People are even dying. Each time you turn onto the news, you hear people die in various places, whether north, south, or east or west. But for the reason, but for the reason that we, the Southerners, are being pushed to the wall, because that is the way I see it. We really need to really begin to find a lasting solution to this.
Now, sorry to interrupt you here. You see, the key word you used, and I want everyone watching to pay attention. You said Southerners. If we start acting in that way and consistent, that is the key to unlocking the quagmire.
Yeah.
Because it happens in Lagos. Someone thinks, oh, this is Lagos. No.
No. It concerns everybody.
It must concern you. It happens in, closer to Kogi. It must, because Kogi, look at Anambra State. So if you think it's none of your freaking business, right? Where next with the land? So go ahead, sorry.
Yes, as I was saying, our borders are really, really being breached.
No, there is no border. Sorry, don't make that. It's an illusion.
No, I have to use that. I have to emphasize on that. For the reason that it has been breached, then it means we don't have borders anymore.
No,
and this has happened over time.
Sorry, which country are you calling from? Sorry, once more, let me ask.
I'm calling from Sweden.
Okay, Sweden. Now,
yes.
I have driven from Norway to Sweden. After using the ship from Kiel in Germany, and you cross over. I think it's called the Schwezenkai or whatever.
Yeah.
Now you drive. There is no physical border because
there's no physical border. Yes, no physical border.
So
but you are being monitored. You are being monitored.
Well,
you are being monitored.
Yes, but if you're a Swedish person and you move from point A to point B, so is anyone going to stop you?
No one is going to stop you, but you are being monitored 100%.
But no one is going to stop you. That's the thing. Now, I don't know why people not getting it. What I'm saying is there is something, there is a legal lacuna, there is a legal loophole there, which is there is a lockdown. Ordinarily, the person has the right to go, but there is a lockdown. And because of this lockdown, there is, you shouldn't move. Therefore, if Anambra gets you, I don't care if you are just 1 meter away to your destination, you go back.
Yes, we are saying this, but in Nigeria, the way I look at it, I don't think there's a lockdown.
No,
the way I observe things are happening.
Listen,
the government says it. The government says it. But it's not implemented.
It comes down to issue where we started with Aburi. If we had Aburi and we had state police in Imo State, a state police commissioner is from Imo State. The police officers in Imo State live in nowhere. Now they go to Olu or they go to what's it called? Akokwa, and between Akokwa and Doga, where you have a boundary.
Yeah, that's my town. That's where I'm from anyway.
You from Akokwa, Oga?
No, I'm from Oga.
Okay. It's a place I know very well. So,
okay.
And they say if you move from Oga into Akokwa, you stop. No, there is no, because it's local. No one is going to move, right?
Mm-hmm.
But whatever you're doing is nonsense. It doesn't make anything if someone who is manning that post is from Zamfara or Nasarawa or Ibadan, because he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. They don't care. Yeah.
He has no interest. That's why I've said, to man the borders, the governors has to wake up. Use state vigilantes. Because if they let anything go, then they're hurting themselves.
That is the area where I was coming to that area.
That would bring us to that area. Sorry?
I was coming to the area of vigilante.
So that's the solution. That's the solution, because at the end of the day, obviously, the lockdown is there. We use the lockdown law to stop movements. If I'm coming, I mean, the lockdown says I can't go from Anambra to Kaduna, isn't it? That's what the lockdown says, unless I'm on essential duty. So you start implement that. I'm not going to Kaduna anyway. Then you're not coming down to the southeast anyway. That's it. So we've been talking. Emmanuel Madu, you've been on mute. Can you unmute yourself and make your contribution?
Yeah. Thank you, Maazi Ezeoke, for having me. I have been looking at these movements, and I hope the Southeast governors have a plan as from June 1. If this lockdown is lifted, you do not have any right to stop anybody. And then I begin to think, under what guise are these guys coming into the Southeast? They are leveraging the Dangote trailers, bringing cows, bringing maize, bringing whatever they are bringing.
They are leveraging the essential
Dangote trailers, yeah, bringing agricultural products, right?
Essential duties, yes.
Yes. So, and I now begin to ask, is it that the Southeast governors are not able to invest in agriculture? Because sometimes there's a knee-jerk reactions by us. It appears we don't sit down to plan 2-3 years ahead. The guys we are dealing with, they sit down to plan 20 years ahead, and they have the patience, the tenacity to stay course. Move from one generation to the other. We don't have a generational plan somehow in the Southeast. If you check very well, I don't think there is any trailer or anything bringing hands down the east. The simple reason is that I've seen that a lot of people are into poultry in the Southeast. So we have sufficient poultry or sufficient poultry meat in the east. Is it that it's impossible for us to go into some of this agriculture, rear cows, rear goats, and do some of these things so that we don't have these guys coming in under any guise? It's not going to stop them. They can board a luxurious bus and stay coming. Yeah, but in this case, you see what they are leveraging on. Everybody kind of like is coming to the south without any restrictions. I was in Nigeria 2 months ago. I was there in October last year. From Port Harcourt Airport to get down to Oka, I mean, I literally was keeping quiet to save my life. Between Port Harcourt and Port Harcourt Airport to Owerri boundary, you will be in a security checkpoint, and you look back, you see the one you just left, and you look front, you see the one you're going to meet. You be like, what has this guy checked at the back that this guy is going to check again? Just delaying me. The last time I was coming back on 23rd March because of the lockdown, I had to shut down my trip. One of the policemen pointed at me, said, I have seen you before and you don't give us money. I mean, and he said it that last year because I was in Nigeria in October. He said to me that I've seen you before somewhere last year. And I remember you don't give us money. So it was that bad. There are millions of people that pass there. I pass there maybe once, 2 times in a year. The politician was able to remember me that I don't give him money. And I remember I said I'm not going to give you any money until I get up. I mean, if the person was that bad, there was nobody to support me. He could have just wasted me there. And I will just keep him quiet just to be alive.
That is a sad note, and that is a nation that people call theirs. And honestly, it's an unbelievable thing happening there. Anyway, by the way, so let's get back to the thing. The thing was, the discussion this evening was on the Aburi and hinged on what Femi Adesina said, meaning he understood what the issues were, but sadly he is now in power. He feels, well, I wouldn't say he's not in power because he doesn't have any executive power, but he's now closer to power. But he appears to have lost all his senses of, reasoning and any way of talking, that he can now call his fellow citizens William Willers and the other ones. He can call them anything he likes for asking questions that where is the president and why can't the president address the people, quote unquote, that elected him. I didn't. So because I didn't, am I expecting him to speak to me? Probably not. But for those that elected him, he's actually abandoned them and he's not speaking to them.
Maazi Ezeoke, in Igbo we say that Wanza na, how did they put it? Wanza na ahammano. He thinks that he's on but you know what I want to say. So when I watched that interview too, you see the arrogance.
Yeah.
If the spokesman has this kind of arrogance, don't think of what he hears from the principal. Just if the spokesman that can be sacked tomorrow has this measure of arrogance, I mean, think of what the principal says to him about us. Femi Adesina, a lot of people are bringing up his article 12 years ago against the new chief of staff. Like Femi Adesina, or is it Ben Abati said that once you get to Asorok, whatever takes over you that they do not know. But it's a matter of time. If we are alive in 2023, God willing, they will live. There is life after power.
I wouldn't bet that.
And with Nigerian leaders, like I tell my friends here, say, don't ever think that they do not know what to do. Don't ever think they know. Their kids are here. Don't ever think that they don't know what to do. They know perfectly well. So I've stopped arguing with people saying that this person doesn't know what to do. This person doesn't know what to do. They know. It's just that they do not want to do.
So let me take this comment from someone here. It says, Mwazuloke Oliver Ogonna says, it's not the same in Europe, my brother. In Italy, we have regions, and you don't cross your region of resident to another region unless you have permit from police. And
that's foreign.
No, exactly. So, the reason why I brought him in is I'll probably lecture him a little bit. The question there is not about, yes, it could be true in this time of COVID. In Italy, yes. For you to go, you need to have permits. That's correct. But again, if you remember, I said the only reason or the only ground anyone in the South can have to stop anyone coming down from North is on the ground of COVID-19 lockdown. Aside COVID-19 lockdown, you watch someone like Kostaris, he will tell you that when he went to Lagos, he went to the Lagos with 911. What is 911? Carrying perishables. So it doesn't matter the means of transportation. That's what I want us to understand. Before now, people move, people who do deal with cow or deal with pepper or yam or whatever, they go with the goods. They stay on top, right? The point here is there is a lockdown. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. The state governors and those in authority must use this law to send every single person back. The same thing.
Okay, I would like to ask you a question about Kostaris.
Yes.
To buttress the point, when Kostaris went to Lagos on the 911, when he got there, was he residing in the bush?
This, you see, before
residing in the forest.
No. You're not getting the point. You're talking of when you get there. I'm talking of not allowing you to get there. It's two different things. You shouldn't even get there in the first place because there was a lockdown. You shouldn't listen. It is. I don't know how to say this. You know, you comment. I think Nedi here said. Let me read this to us. Said, hold on. Nedi here says. The question is that there are only two ways to cross to the southeast: River Niger Bridge, and I think the other one via Nsukka and Warri. Okay, I'll add Kogi because there is one through Kogi, Anambra. It's very simple.
Well.
So let's say it's 6, let's say it's 10. You know the routes, you know the boundaries, right? Block it off. Delta, I'm not interested in coming into Delta. If you swim, I'll shoot you. So block it off. The other one, you block it off because you know that means you're not going in, you're not coming out. You lock it down. So we need to be aggressive. The only person that appears to understand this is El-Rufai. He doesn't care. He is the one that implements this because he doesn't want people from Katsina. He doesn't want people from Nasarawa to flock into Kaduna. He doesn't want people.
I think Wike is doing a great job as well.
Whoa, Wike is.
He's doing a great job.
Wike is only taking the spillover from Anambra via Imo and spillover from Enugu via Abia State. Wike should be sleeping. If Anambra, Abia, Imo are doing their job as states, there should be no one getting to. This is what I mean. You shouldn't get to that point. You should have been stopped. Listen, you were Ubolafo. You weren't stopped. You got up to 9th Mile. You weren't stopped. You get into Enugu Port Harcourt Expressway to the point that you get to Imo State via Okipe. And you get to the point that you enter Abia State. To the point that you're now leaving Abia State to come on now. These are security lapses.
Maazi Ezeoke, there's something that doesn't make sense. The Southeast governors were planning on a security outfit.
Yes.
The Inspector General of Police had a meeting with them and they backed down. That's just one. And then we have this situation now. Ugwuanyi is not doing anything. Obiano is not doing anything. You can forget the rest. This takes me back to what happened at Nimbo. I think it was Nimbo, it was called, in Nsukka, where the headsmen came in those 7 communities and then killed a lot of people. There's been no arrest till today. In your interactions with people who are closer to power, did you get a sense of something in agreements they made or whatever it is that makes it impossible for them to stand up and say no? What is it? What is the problem? Or at least take their jobs seriously. They are the security officers of this.
I wish I'm a governor. Then I'll answer you.
I'm trying to understand.
I wish I'm a. Listen. When the whole thing started, when the whole thing started, I was among the people that called for forest guards. Because what the forest guard does is, while you have the vigilantes in the communities, the forest guards will now comb the bushes. And which states do we have bushes in the Igbo nation? We have Ebonyi, we have Abia. Between Uturu, those axes, we have slightly in Imo. But,
yeah, that's Imo area. That's it. Yeah.
But the only place we really have bushes are Enugu, Imo, and Ebonyi. Anambra State, there are no lands left. It's virtually everywhere. It's virtually inhabited. And which area are you going to hide in, Noga? And my good brother here will not see you. He can even see you from Sweden. So where would you hide? Now, you see, because the proposition is not one cap fits all. Enugu, fine, they've done that. I had expected more from Abia State, right? Anambra State has a state vigilante, funded under P2B. He's very active. I'm from Anambra, and if you're doing anything now, traditional marriage or whatever, invite the police. There is the likelihood that a car or two will go missing, but you invite the Anambra State vigilante from your community because they know every damn single person there. Nothing goes missing. That is a solution. Now, these are people that we ought to be pushing that they, if it means paying them more for them to now, maybe do nights, man the roads. They have their pump actions and they have their walking sticks and their granates, right? So they should be able to, give protection, because for me, the state apparatchik is failed. The failure is what we can see in River State, that Wike is running up and down. My argument remains, you should not get into Anambra, talk less of Enugu, before you even get down to Abia State. You understand? We shouldn't be talking of, honestly, people getting in there. Even if you're coming from...
Maazi Ezeoke, I think it's high time we in the diaspora begin to liaise together with those back home. And we take our matters to the governors. Then let's hear from them. Let them tell us what the problem is. If they can't do the job, let them let us know.
Yeah.
Because they are the one in power. They are the one to give the directive. And those who are giving the directive will follow. If the vigilantes will do the job, definitely they will do the job better than the police. Then let them be well equipped. Let them be given the nod to go ahead and do the needful. This is not the time when we continue to talk about this. A whole lot of talks have been going about on social media, so what, and wherever you take the matter to, it's still the same thing. I think we have to really do something drastic at this moment, because I don't know what the next few months will turn out to be. I don't see it looking good. From now till December, I don't know what might happen, but I think something not good is about to happen. Because at the rate through which these guys are pouring into the southern part of Nigeria, is becoming very, very alarming.
Sure.
And one has to wake up to do something.
Sure.
The whole of south region, more especially the southeastern region right now, because I see more of them coming into that region. I see more of them coming into that region.
Let me ask us this question. The Southwest has Amotekun.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
Has Amotekun stopped the influx into the Southwest?
Actually, Amotekun is not functioning.
It's not functional.
Why?
I've not heard much of that. I want to quickly say, I don't think they are well equipped to do the job. I don't think they are well equipped to do the job.
Okay, hold on.
And that is the problem.
It's fine. You've said, because it's always easy to say, well, the Southeast should do this from their own. I am not, quote me any day, I am still not a fan of the bigger structure, because controlling them becomes an issue. Reporting line becomes an issue. My proposition from day one is still simple. You have a reporting line within states. Create your own. Anambra State has done it. Replicate what Anambra has done. Even when Amotekun started, They tried to do a superstructure for the whole Southwest region. It failed. They had to go back to their various states' assemblies and start passing them into laws. Question then thereof is Motekun stopping movement to the Southwest?
The answer is no.
No,
Why?
and as I was saying, this brings us back to the question I asked. Why are the governors not doing their jobs?
Which governors? Southern governors, right?
All of them.
So we get to that.
So if I may come in there with why governors are not doing their job, right? There is other group we had that trying to do technology transfer to the Southeast. That's part of the what I'm trying to say, that the diasporans are also trying to do something. But one thing I've come to realize is that the process that produces these leaders is very faulty. Very, very faulty. And as long as somebody sits in Abuja and decides who sits in Enugu, Anambra, we can talk from morning till night, because politicians, they go to a great length to ensure that you are loyal. Sometimes they have you sign resignation letter before they put you in there.
With the exception of Hope Uzodinma, can you point to any other? Hold on. No. I'm a practical person. With the exception of Hope Uzodinma, can you point to any other governor in the Southeast, South that was installed by Abuja?
So, apart from Hope Uzodinma,
we outsource our responsibility and blame outside.
They may not come out immediately to say Abuja is installing this person, but there's a process of campaign, there's a process of primary election, there's a process of INEC. INEC is not controlled from state, right? During the process of election, I can say this guy is not going to win the primary. And if you don't win the primary, you don't even have any need of contesting. That we don't see them physically go to Abuja and say, Abuja have installed me. Some other person, they have been remote controlled from somewhere. Right? Because I have come to the conclusion that it's not that citizens do not know what to do. They know what to do. But there is something at the back saying, you can't take this action. If you do, I will do this.
Okay, so people, we will be rounding up now. I will leave us with this. Over the last weekend, because I was worried, I reached out to some of the quote-unquote Igbo leaders, and I asked, what are we doing in the midst of what is happening? And I was told a lot. I said, but I can't see anything. They said to me, n'ihe ha na-eme abụghị ihe a na-ekwu n'ilo. Maka na ọ bụrụ na ekwuo ya n'ilo, ụmụnne anyị ndị nọ n'ugwu Hausa ga-enwe nsogbu. On that note, people, I will leave it at that. As na atụọla ọmalụ. So I hope on that note, I'm sorry for my non-Igbo viewers, but there are things we remove from meat
before you eat the meat.
Make it consumable, which means in Igbo once more. On that note, I will thank every one of you, John Okorie, Mike Madu, Wandu. Wandu, are you from Anambra too?
Ijola might be several times. I'm saying yes.
Are you from Nnokwa too? Obunike. So now you people are the ones asleep in the cave. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And for what? You now want to go to village politics. Ring him afterwards. Anyway. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining the call.
Thank you so much, Maazi Ezeoke.